to Sippy Cup and Split Fire. Already a team we've seen. They won their first set of the BC Joust League 1-0 currently. It looks like, I would assume based off this comp, electing to go this more traditional as well with a Mage Guardian with Ganesh and then ADC. But they might elect to go an Assassin depending on the draft. So they have some of that flexibility with this draft style. Raijin being a big pickup here for the Crows. Obviously some of that renowned going bruiser, getting that base damage with tablet, able to do a ton of utility with the slow on his 2, the fear or taunt with his alt, the stun on his dash, like a ton of utility. Interesting, noted they elect to go at Cupid. Cupid is getting a buff on Tuesday, however, current base damage, if you will, being what it is, I'm not necessarily thrilled by this pickup. Obviously no CC immunity, right? His alt field, they just pick up a Heavenly Runner running out of it. His base damage on the Heart Bomb, even once maxed, doesn't offer what other ADCs would, especially some of the prio ADCs being open, maybe going on or a Chiron or some of the others. But a little bit something different. I'm not against it either. So let's see if he can, whether Habana or Geller's playing on that, decides to cook a little bit, what they got cooked up for us today. 2 more ADCs banned out, aka the Hoi on her by the Crows against the Sages, thinking that, I mean, maybe they're going that traditional comp. I would like to see the Sages, the Sippy Cup Gambu Split Fire roster, elect to go an Assassin here. Maybe that Camazotz, maybe a Thor, however, someone able to dive this double DPS with a Ganesh ult and just absolutely shred them. Again, that lack of CC immunity being on that Cupid, I think could be very easily capitalized on. What they elect to do, really curious to see how they decide to draft that. Double Guardian, aka the Charon Cabrakan. Cabrakan wall is really punishing the Lefay and most ADCs without mobility. Charon, a ton of range poke, right? So pretty stereotypical bans on the side of the Sages. I want to see how they draft, and a Medusa picked up. So they do elect to go that ADC route. A Medusa, not... Obviously, we talk about all the time that little 180, making sure you're not actually getting that petrified ult, but the base damage is scaled up. So I would like to see if that is what they're electing to go, an ability-based Medusa, maybe a Transcendence, etc. On what they / how they decide to build. What's up, Plug? How are you? Welcome, welcome. Now I need a beefy front line. 4 Guardians banned on the side of this set in general. I wouldn't mind a potential Odin Cage. It's not phenomenal to Ganesh. However, the Lefay Medusa don't have those dashes and some of that ability to get out of it. And Odin wouldn't be bad here comboed with the Cupid ult. I think that might be one of the better picks. However, they can go another beefy solo front line. Something that would actually go into that. It is the Louring Crows. First time we're seeing the Louring Crows play this BBC Joust. They had a bye week 1 going into week 2. Really excited to see how that goes. What's up, Greatest? How are you? Typically, if you're going to more of that PvE style, I would tell you to go in ADC or auto attack biased character. Typically in ADCs, the best 2 are X-Ball, Hachi. Problem with them is getting to late. You typically have to have a character or a comp built around it to transition you into that late game. Hopefully that helps answer some of that question, Druid. I would tell you typically ADC, but right now maybe even an Assassin that's auto attack based could help you do that too. Comp is P's and B's, 70%. Chemistry with your roster, probably the other remaining, where the main 20-25%, and then just chemistry, character, and then player diff, if you will, from there. I appreciate that, Greatest. Appreciate and obviously same to you. Hopefully your day's going well. Waiting to load into this game. Both teams electing to go this traditional comp. Jing Chen obviously going exceedingly well into auto attack based characters, but also a big route into this Lefay with the lack of mobility or dash, forcing her alter beads on cooldown. I would like to see a ton of that. However, he can get punished on the side of this Ganesh Lefay combo post jumps. So you gotta be a little conscious of that. Obviously, that's true both ways when you talk about solo frontline agents into a traditional comp. They're going to be typically on the receiving end of most of this poke. So excited to see both these set teams go head to head This is only set number 1 of the night, for the record. For those of you who don't know, we have 3 sets tonight. This is set number 1, game number 1. Ton of SMITE to come for this BBC Joust League. Should probably turn down this music just a little bit. We be blaring a little bit. There you go. Perfecto. Just double checking some stuff while we're waiting. You might need to some tequila, maybe. I mean, a little bit of. I have caffeine right now. I might need some in between sets. We got a hella long night ahead of us. I feel like this is gonna be most of my Fridays or Saturday nights now with the Joust League. But hey, I'm here for it. I'm excited to watch most of this. Still waiting to load in. Fortunately, it doesn't look like we're put on low spectate, but we will get there. Probably should have put up. Remind me if you guys can to put up a prediction on game number 2. I don't want to necessarily put it up right now, but I will definitely be putting it up for game number 2 of set number 1, and for those that we are going to be watching live. So set now, set live at 10 p.m., but also one we'll watch as a replay when we can fit it in, obviously. So I'm excited. I'm waiting for the spectre. We didn't put a low delay. Fuck. There we go. Game number 1. Move my camera on over. Shrink that a little bit because nobody wants to see my face. I don't want to see my face anyway. Do that. Just get all prepped and in position. Okay, it's going to adjust me. I'm going to wait till it stops doing that. Boom. All right. There we go. Got the crows. Got the sages. Game number 1, BBC Joust League. Let's get it. I think, I don't know. I want to favor the crows draft. If it wasn't for the Cupid pick, I probably would have heavily favored it. Love the Xingqian pickup. Love the Raijin. Obviously, hyper meta played properly is going to really do a ton of work for the crows. The Cupid lack of CC immunity and just the lack of base damage on the scaling for just ability base in general, although it's still an ADC that holds left click. I'm really interested to see how that is played throughout, but maybe I'm just completely wrong. Notable, the LaFay, instead of going Sands of Time, elects to go this Gem Star into, I would assume, either a Chronos Pendant or a Coin. So looking for more of that base damage, lack of survivability late game with an alternate timeline. LaFay 3 contacting Raijin 2 a little off the mark. Little poke right off the bat. Medusa is going to that ability base versus the auto attack base with a Bluestone going into Transcendence. I'm not thrilled by the shell on the Ganesh versus a set of beads into a Xingqian. Immediate blink in. A ton of poke placed. I already love the Xingqian getting hyper aggressive here. Like I said, I'm not necessarily thrilled by the shell on the Ganesh into a Xingqian Cupid ult Raijin taunt. I think that needs to be the focus from the Crow roster, punishing that lack of CC immunity. If you're able to get the hands on it, forcing one of the CC immune ults. Got to be a little conscious. This Raijin a little out of place here. Could be picked up. Can't dash with that 3. Obviously a big burst of damage coming from that directly after. That should spell red buff for the Sages. Crows just electing to play safe, being poked out on the Raijin to immediately go the blue buff. Obviously a lack of clear, more so the clear with Medusa Spit and LaFay Cask, and he'd be able to out clear this Crows roster. It should be a 3 buff when you think about it on the side of the Sages. So a net win right away. Red, purple, and blue. That's fine, plug. Yeah, so the vibes will be up, and like I said, I've been posting all the Joust games on YouTube, so you can always rewatch them later as well. Jing Chen trying to hover. Maybe a possible steal with Breath. A little late. Raijin going T2. I'm assuming that's going to be a Divine. It's a Divine Rush. Wait. A little late on the stop into the back by the Jing. A little unfortunate. T2s across the board. Griffin Wing start for the Cupid. Like I said, the only thing notable, obviously, being the gem star on this Lefay, or the no beads on this Ganesh. If the Jing Chen is able to get a big alt on, hopefully two, Ganesh being the main course of action, into a Cupid alt followed by Raijin taunts, and hopefully enough damage to turn to kill, would be where I'd want to focus that target. It's going to be hard in turn getting a good Ganesh alt. No alt yet. Big Fearless. What's up, Sen? How are you? Ton of pressure. Jing popping Horn Shard. Notable, the blink is up for the Jing Chen. You got to be a little conscious on the grouping. Good silence. Blink used. Good silence by the Ganesh response time. What's up, Nico? He did pick his Cupid. A ton of damage and able to immediately connect onto that Raijin before he even gets ult off. Unfortunate cast. A ton of damage dealt out by the Lefay, contacting 3-1 and killing him alone by her base damage alone. No real value, even though he did pull Lefay ult and Ganesh. Like we were mentioning, trying to get that combo, the Raijin was dead, so you never really get a ton of that value off that ult. Getting outpoked here. I'm good though, Sen. I appreciate you asking. Hopefully your Saturday night is going well. This is the first of 3 Joust League sets we have watching tonight. So I'm excited. A lot of League Joust tonight. Good. Glad to hear, Sen. This should be a big back for Sages, right? You're going to get that Transcendence on the Medusa. We're going to get that full item on the Lefay. They just got another, what would be, I'm assuming, is going to be another triple buff rotation by the Sages roster. It's getting both Chesters, right? Just got to be a little careful. They're very aware. 3 little off the mark by this Lefay. Not willing to 50-50 purple buff. Obviously, alt being down to Lefay, not feeling like she has that safety and mobility with Jing Chen, not knowing Jing Chen backed. Jing Chen went Cloak. I'm not necessarily thrilled at that. He's going to have to constantly be trying to poke with that Breath, trying to stack that Cloak, putting himself possibly out of position. Good 1-3 by the Lefay, looking for that one. Just not enough damage, but are they able to turn this back on this Lefay? Medusa dashes in. Jing looking for that now finishing kill or finishing touch. Medusa auto-trading with this Cupid. Horn Shard popped. A 1-for-1 trade. Lefay just egoing the enemy mage, aka Raijin, putting in a ton of work for the Sages. Absolutely crazy. Raijin full cast was used on that purple buff, immediately punished. A little unfortunate. Honestly, I think that goes incredibly... It swings in the favor of Sages if Ganesh was there. Or is able to go in a little bit cleaner. Not sure if I remember it up. I have not seen the Dynamic Pillars. Maybe I'm just blonde, which I am, and not paying attention. But we need to get a little bit more value out of the Ganesh. In these team fights, Even though LeFay has been doing a ton of work right away, out exchanging this poke, going for those one-on-ones. Maybe coordinating with the Dharmic Pillars is going to allow not only good silence, really well done, stunning. Can we get any value directly after all cast? Good return damage by this Medusa. LeFay is still hovering. Dash is forced. I mean, the reaction time of the Ganesh for the Jing Chen blinking in, not able to really react because of the silences. He's got to immediately blink alt and hope that he beats the response time of this Ganesh. LeFay is rounding. Good ultimate forcing beats. Raijin immediately bursted down by that damage. Shell used. Ganesh dashing in. A little off the mark. This damage, that's base damage on this LeFay, putting in a ton of work. Raijin not even getting the chance to play the game. That should result, obviously, in an invade, aka blue buff. Red is up as well. Already resulting in a 1,400 gold lead, if not 1,500 after red. Might actually come down a little bit with wave. It is. Okay. Big XP lead, almost a full level, if not a full level, on the side of the Sages. I need to see a little bit more safety or positioning by this Raijin in response, knowing the LeFay is immediately looking for some of that poke damage of 3. That trade is just not going to the favor at all. Unfortunately, Chester is stolen away off LeFay 3. LeFay putting in a ton where the Sages roster, as already stated. Jing Chen just looking for those cloak stacks. Good jump on the CC immunity. Or on the knock, rephrase that. Ganesh backing with Onis. Medusa already 30, almost 30 stacks in, 8 minutes into the game. Love that she's actually prioritizing that wave clear, getting those stacks online. That was a stun via the heart bomb for the Cupid passive. However, no real damage follow up. I just got to be a little careful. She is on a ward, but he's equally in a bad position. Immediately dashes mid. A ton of damage once again by this LeFay. Raijin on the receiving end of all 3 ultimates. Medusa, Petrify, aka ult, coming across for that securing kill. Horn Shard pop by the LeFay. Trying to stop the Cupid back, a little out of range. This should be just wave purple. Again, looking for that net positive. A nice pickup. All 3 ults forced on both teams. This should be a purple and back. What I want to see from the Sages roster, again, playing off that second relic spike, a ton of gold and XP already starting to accumulate. I want to see them back here. Look for maybe another quick fight. Preparation for that second relic. And immediately net winning that, possibly getting a pick, getting T1, going bull. It's going to run away with this. It's starting to turn into, I need to see a little bit more from this Raijin positioning-wise. He's on the receiving end of a 1-3 from LeFay, immediately followed by a Ganesh ult, Medusa ult. It's kind of securing that kill. He's not able to get off that dash in time. How do we actually counteract that? I think it's just outranged. I don't know, because this Jing Chan's looking for that engage, getting that blink, but is immediately going to respond. We have to get some value off this Jing ult. He's going for that cloak stack. There's that silence. It's going to be an immediate dash. Now, oh, that should be an ultimate. Ganesh dash is down. This should be a ton of damage turned onto this Ganesh. Dash, we need to see Raijin. That should have been a little sooner. Taunting her under tower would have been a huge play. Unfortunately, not able to keep that Ganesh under tower, making sure that was continual aggro. LeFay coming across. A big cast by her, missing the 3rd tick of ult. Possible misplay by the Crows. A big Cupid ult, forcing beads. The dash, getting caught by the knockup. Medusa going for the spit, a little off the mark. Raijin turning some of that damage as well. Big exchanges, just not enough by either team for finishing touches, aka kills. I would have liked to see the Raijin upon the Jing ult, immediately doing that, knowing the Ganesh dashed, throwing her further, dashing 1-2 combo, ulting, keeping the Ganesh under tower, making sure that aggro is always kept, securing that kill. A little unfortunate LeFay didn't have enough damage to finish either one of the Cupid or Raijin in turn on a mistake on that. I don't think this gets better, obviously, for the Crows rosters. This Sages team now getting those second relics is going to prove incredibly difficult. What I'm interested to see, especially with how aggro this LeFae is playing if she goes Blink. Ethereal picked up Aegis, okay. Which I would obviously stereotypically see, but considering she's hovering so much, rounding this team comp, I wondered if it was going to be a little cheeky. Good placement on the Chester. Blink is a lifestyle, true. I mean, she's hovering around in jungle, especially with the style that this LeFae is electing to play. Maybe a Blink knockup, full combo. She's doing a ton of work, 3 levels up, or more so 2.5. This Cupid getting Heart Bomb. Unfortunately, not a stun. Jing did have ult. I would have liked to see the ult there, forcing ultimates before jumping away, right? The LeFae was out of position, half health. You could have forced ult. She didn't have beads. You would have forced at least the ultimates, giving some of that survivability to the Crows roster under tower. I think that was a possible misplay on the Jing Chen. Petrify connecting. There's the Raijin ultimate. He can't cross that line. LeFae is hovering. Now she's going to round here. We have to be a little conscious of that. If she's able to contact, they are aware of it. Raijin dashes. And that should be the end, and is for the ultimate. Ganesh Silence putting in a ton of work. Maybe a possible double Jing ult. Big. Just what we like to see. A 2-for-1 situation. He should have jumped out. Unfortunately, jumping in, looking for that damage, immediately caught. This turns into a one-on-one situation. Cupid has to pry a wave. Heart Bomb a little off the mark. I would have liked to see the Heart Bomb go for those archers. Make sure this Medusa doesn't hit this tower. Force her out. Good. Standing in front of the autos. Making sure she can't tank tower. Ozzy is procced. Now this is an auto attack versus ability base, but she does have Fail Not, right? So that crit's going to come across. She does have ult. So this Cupid has to be a little conscious knowing he doesn't have ult. He does have beads. Big play by the Jing Chen. Like I said, I would like to see that ult when they were 3 grouped up there, forcing those ults originally, but still a net win. I think the double jump back in on the Medusa was where that went wrong. Could have left it at a 2-1 trade. Would have been really big. Good route. Heart Bomb connecting. Ult immediately. There's the Raijin ult. That should be a pickup, and is a 3-for-1. How does that trade turn from there? Ganesha dashing in. That is beads used. Cupid just autoing this down. That should result in Ganesh death. A big turnaround here. Wave almost dead. Does Cupid have enough DPS for the few minions remaining? Jing might have to tank up a few shots here, confirming the kill, or the T1 tower for the Cupid. Cupid dashes in. An ultimate immediately. I love this aggressive play. Immediately picks up the Medusa. LeFae and Ganesh are down for 10. This could result in a bird here. A big turnaround by the Crows. Exceptionally done. Wave stepping in. This should result. I want to see them immediately leaving here, possibly confirming that red buff. There's the dashes. LeFae trying to cover ground. The Crows did turn it. That is huge for them. Really well played. Honestly, they capitalized on that misposition by the LeFae in this corridor. A big group by the Jing Chen. Cupid Heart Bomb contacting, ulting, forcing her into ult, Raijin dashing into ult. That's all happened here based off the LeFae pathing the way it was, not playing around the team, playing a little confident, immediately punished, resulting in a T1 bird. Really, really well punished by Crows. What a big turnaround. What was a massive lead, if not a substantial lead for this Sages rosters, has gone from a complete 180, if you will. LeFae still up in XP. Outside of that, let's see how this graph shifted. And now we're almost dead even in experience. The gold went from being almost 2k down to immediately a 1,000 swing, almost a 3k gold swing. Ward coverage, obviously both on this choke point, no sentry ward. Places the sentry ward, so they know they're there. Jing getting a little poked by the LeFae. Raj gotta be a little conscious of that. Terrified, how are you? Decent 2. Gotta be a little careful here. This is a 2-for-1. Jing blinks in. Immediately Ganesh silence. Good response time. A dash. Medusa ulting. Cupid beats are used. Ganesh, big ultimate post-dash. The LeFay is wrapping. Cupid's got to be aware of that. Getting picked up by this LeFay. Raijin able to get a pick. A 2-for-1. Immediately turn. Jing has to survive here. Otherwise, that's going to result. Actually, a 1-for-1. I didn't even realize that Raijin was still alive. Big damage. Got to be a little careful. If he dashes in, he's going to get silenced by the Ganesh. And Shell used. Ganesh turning that kill. Big counterplay. A big shell bait by the Ganesh. Really well played by the Sages. This is back and forth. Honestly, a really close game overall. Really well done by the Ganesh. Shell baiting that, knowing the Raijin's going to dash in. Looking for that one dash through, confirming that kill. No, this is a little eager. Cupid isn't up for 8, so actually this wave should kill T1. I like the macro here. That is T1 secured. If this Ganesh is able to tank this, they're going to have to trade it, right? Maybe don't. They are able to secure that, so a big play. Tier 1 allowing the wave to push that because of the health on it. Getting T1, getting Bull, they back. Now a swing back, right? What a crazy swing of events. Now another almost 2k gold swing. Now in favor of the Sages. This is going to come down to a one fight. This set is going to be wild whichever way this goes. Raijin is full damage, notably. Already at 30% pen, right? Going too flat pen on rush. I want to see an alternate timeline, if anything, for the survivability so he can get maybe a little aggressive. I think maybe once you get to level 20, her not having that alternate timeline might be a deciding factor, assuming we actually get there. It is a Toxic Blade on Cupid. I'm not incredibly thrilled by that for the anti-heal or Soul Eater here. LeFay passive, obviously notably getting some of that lifesteal. Is that worth picking up a Toxic Blade? I mean, there's no really great anti-heal sources on the ADCs right now, either Deathbringer or Toxic Blade. I would have liked to see, which you already have, a Divine being the application of anti-heal. Jing doesn't have Blink for 8. Good Heart Bomb, stunning them out, making them making the question just what they're looking for. LeFay 3, giving them the movement speed to get out of range from the Raijin. Jing ult. That is a Cupid ult, immediately followed up, but is that enough damage? Raijin is on top of this LeFay. Raijin's got to be careful, fears away. He is a little out of position here. LeFay is wrapping. He's going to have to dash and does. This is really split now. Cupid getting caught by the Ganesh dash into LeFay Fearless. Bird did spawn. They need to survive here. And immediately turned into a pick. The LeFay Aegis immediately used. That should be a dash. Beads for the dash and doesn't get it off in time. Beads used just a second too late where the knockup connected with him. Beads in midair, forcing the pick. That should spell game end of number 1. A wave is here. 20 seconds on the Cupid timer. Just an unfortunate turn of fight. Love the aggression. They had a big turnout for T1, T2 for the Crows. However, Sage is pulling that back out via a team fight at the very end. Well played. To see, obviously, a little bit better positioning by the mage, aka Obana, at that point on the Raijin. Be a little bit more conscious of Gambu, and how he was playing that really aggressive with that 1-3. But I need to see more value off of the front line, aka Void with that Xing Chen. He got a couple really big ults, but almost being a little timid, just looking for that poke on cloak versus trying to find a ton of value on those ults with the Ganesh not having beats originally, or comboing that well, right? When the Xing threw that Ganesh under tower, we didn't get that Raijin taunt. I think that might just be general chemistry on team. Obviously, this being the first time we're seeing this team play together, that can always be adjusted and worked throughout. It's really good plays on both sides, but there's definitely errors to be corrected. So I think this could be more so, maybe not even comp adjustments, but roster or generic chemistry I want to see on both these rosters playing together a little bit better. As pick or easy XEZPK, appreciate the Prime Gaming sub. Welcome to the BBC, also known as the Big Blondie Crew, Big Black Coffee, Big Blonde Coward, or Big Blondie's Christmas coming soon. There's plenty more to come for that. But I appreciate it. Welcome to the BBC. A priority ADC elected to be picked up by this. Oh, I got to adjust team sides, right? By this Sage's roster, right? X-Ball then picked up on the other side of it. So both both primary ADCs, X-Ball, Hachi, aka contested as the top 2 ADCs currently in Joust for the safety and free power on X-Ball's passive. Picked up here. It's Crows, Sages, good. All right. Like I said, I want to see maybe a little bit of just chemistry, gameplay, or micro adjustments on both these teams, less of team comp. I'm really interested to see how they elect to draft that. Now, Ganesh has picked up maybe more so taking it away from this Sages team off Sippy Cup. I'm wondering how they actually elect roster-wise to play that. Obviously, maybe a little upset that he was getting silenced every time he was going for that engage, right? That counter-engage, Ganesh is predominantly known for a really good backline support that's able to help that counter-engage, if you will. So really interested to see how that plays out. Lefay, Gambu proved over and time again, right? A ton of pressure, ton of damage. Played it really aggressively. I love this pickup back for him. I don't know if that was a comfort pick, right? But a solid pickup for their roster. I would, given these, right, you still need a beefy front line or someone for this Sages roster, someone to counteract, whether that's, I don't know if you want to go that dive comp, much like the Jing, right, where you're going to be just counter dove via this Ganesh, that silence going into that stun and an ultimate, if you will. I would want to see this Ganesh get a little aggressive with his ultimates around this Lefay, right? Maybe boxing her in, going for those ultimates. That's going to be the facilitator for this Crows roster. Double Guardian banned by this Crows roster. It should be a mage, and is. I'm okay with, I actually like this. So for those that don't know, X-Ball's got that power in his passive. Disco is passive. More often than not, SPL commonly attributes her to just a passive bot, giving that passive over. If this X-Ball gets to late game, gets to build his passive plus X-Ball's passive, he is going to kill anything in front of it. Not to mention all if he throws a fail out or anything else on. That's a phenomenal / good draft. I like the Disco Strife, aka 1-2, into the Disco lack of mobility, forcing her ult. Now, they have to pick a mobile frontline, and how they position is everything on the Sages roster. I don't mind that pickup here. The pluck into a Lefay combo, aka Fearless, knock up 3 auto attack, right? However you're going to combo that while ADC's autoing that entire time. That goes really well. And they don't really have a really good way to punish it. Now, a notable counterplay to that is how good reaction time is, whether on ping or his own gameplay mechanic-wise, is the silence on this Ganesh, right? Because he can silence that pluck pre-hitting. How fast he is on that, punishing that pluck, forcing so back and all, or maybe even getting that counter damage by his team going for that counter engage, right? So really interested to see how that has played out. They need to play that positionally really well as a roster on both sides. But this block could show to be the difference maker for the Sages roster. I love that pickup. I want to see him go. I want to see Sippy on the Sobek go Blink Heavenly. Heavenly for the Ganesh ult, right? Blink trying to close that gap so it isn't as predictable for that pluck. Or it's going to be positionally looking like you're setting up a geometry class, and it's going to be seen coming for days. But the Heavenly is going to be doing a ton for this Lefay and himself post ult, trying to navigate this Ganesh ult in response. Waiting for it to load in. Oof. Did we get that prediction? I don't think we did, so I'm going to do that. Hold on. / prediction. I'm going to do this while I'm waiting for this game to load in. Start a prediction. Who wins? Sages. Crows. Boom. All right. 2 minutes on that, guys. Feel free to get your votes in. Who do you think wins game number 2? This is live. This is the Sages versus the Crows. Right? Game number 2. Put your points where your mouth is, if you will. Who do you think, based off draft, based off what you saw game number 1, who's coming out on top? for game number 2. That prediction is up for you guys to vote on that. I would like to say, I mean, played exceptionally. I kind of favor this Crows roster, obviously given that counter engage with this Ganesh being the facilitator of that. But if that Ganesh response on that silence isn't exceptional, the Sobek roster, aka the Sages, kind of run away with this game. Not a ton of votes on. I'm surprised no one's voting at all. That prediction is up probably for another 10 seconds. Feel free to vote who you're actually playing for, the Sages or the Crows. I guess you should have put that up for more time. Unfortunate. To live dangerously or not, I know. Who's going to live dangerously? Waiting to load into game number 2 of set number 1 tonight. 3 sets of the BBC Joust League to be played. I'm going to all in, but I'm a coward. Damn, I'm for it. You couldn't even vote? It looks like you got a vote in prediction. I'll make it longer next time. We have 3 sets, so don't worry. You're a third of the way to VIP? Ah. That makes sense. Didn't want to risk it for the biscuit, if you will. Understandable, understandable. Can't knock that. Obviously, a ton of this base damage based off of Faye going gem. We didn't even reach level 20, so the alternate timeline didn't even call into effect. However, I would have favored that Crows roster based off those picks if they were able to get to late game, given that the LaFay didn't have alternate, could have punished that immobility. Unfortunately, it just didn't turn out in their favor. A semi-pro? Yeah, it's IGN's Paradise. He's good. Very good player. Or used to be Paradise, I guess. But yeah. Formerly known, if you will. Sands is high in the Sobek, right? Maybe going for that alternate timeline late. Again, the same build for this LaFay, that gem, looking for more of that damage early, trying to run away with that pressure. A tainted steal on this Ganesh. I'm not necessarily thrilled by that. Obviously looking for the anti-heal. Sobek having healing, probably more often not going to have a Ozzy on the ADC, not to mention LaFay's passive, right? On that consume on the alt or AK passive. So I'm not against that. Again, notably too, Disco going gem herself. So both mages electing to go gem for some of that base damage and helping clear versus going that alternate timeline for late game. Maybe thinking they're never going to see level 20. So by covering that block and does hit it. There's that knockup dash. I mean, going in. Only forced to half health. Horn shard popped. Cast a little off the mark. That should prove, obviously, the Crows a little worse for wear. That should spell red buff for the Sages. So by covering the pluck and plucks the Ganesh immediately. Dashes in, but silenced in response. Can they return some of that damage? Shall use. There's that silence I was talking about. A really, really good silence on that Hachi dash, making sure it was canceled out before the stun came across. I need him to be a little faster on these Sobek plucks with that silence. Canceling it out would be absolutely massive, being able to turn that stun around and make sure he doesn't get displaced himself. Red picked up by the Sages, now positioning aggressively for a blue buff. Wave is pushed, so they do have wave pressure. Disco try to cast over the wall, and does. Unfortunately not able to steal their own blue. It was confirmed by the Sages. Hachi feeling comfortable enough to dash in here. Playing very aggressive. Good 3 by the LaFay, hitting both DPSs. That should be a 4 buff rotation. A big start for this Sages roster. Like I said, 4 buff rotation. They're going to path low, making sure they don't get caught out by this other roster. Big backs for the Sages team. Level 5 reached. Should be Griffins, possible T2. It's not. Shouldn't be full items on the Sobek LaFay, and it's not. Level 5's ticked over. This should spell 5 here, hopefully, for the Crows roster. So they're not completely out of place. Level 5 only ticked over for this Discordia. Well, can't speak English, unfortunately. Now they have level 5 advantage. Like I said, I would have liked to have seen the Blink heavily for Ganesh Alt for the Sobek. However, electing to go the Shell for more so the base, the double DPS comp and possible X-Ball Alt for his DPS. Cam fam, thank you. My dumbass wasn't paying attention. Good base damage. Obviously, shoving that wave under tower, making sure that this Crows roster isn't able to receive the gold, creating a little bit of a lead here. Slowly but surely favoring the Sages roster. Obviously, this big spike is going to come from. There's that silence I talked about. So Sobek went for that pluck and immediately respond by that silence. Really well played. Ganesh Alt, however, immediately reacted in response. LeFay creating that separation and peel for the team, getting a big cast. What I thought was going to turn in favor of the Crows with that silence into Ganesh Alt. Really well done. LeFay immediately counteracted and make sure both DPS felt pressure, getting around those Dharmic pillars and getting a big cast off. Red now secured. No relics used, notably, on either team. I will like to say that was 2 alts off of the Crows and no alts or relics off of the Sages. So a big net win for the Sages as a whole, right? Their ultimates are up. They can pressure the 3 buff rotation. However, they're hovering, looking for a little cheeky play possibly here. Ward placed. Should be just a back. They're waiting for the purple blue to spawn. Hachi feeling aggressive enough to dash double banner. Big cast onto LeFay, making her feel uncomfortable enough to have to ult. X-Ball forced the dash out. A big pluck by this Sobek, forcing her into LeFay. Unfortunately, just not enough damage. Both DPS is exceptionally low by the Sages, but not able to secure just those last little bit of damage. Sobek getting chunked down, has to be careful. A big cast by the LeFay, confirming both with the 3-1 off of the Crows. A big pickup here. That should result in a tower. Hachi stepping out. Just not enough damage. Big swing. All 3 members wiped in favor of the Sages. The Crows have an uphill battle ahead of them to try to claw their way back into this set. 1-0 down in the series. Not an unformidable challenge. Yeah, the range Hachi won with banner, not to mention the 1-3 or 3-1, if you will, by LeFay, just proving to be a incredible amount of damage and poke, not allowing this Crows team to step up, period. Not enough. Decent idea. Gotta be careful. Ganesh Alt used. Double Alt in return. Sobek has to be careful on the receiving end of a ton of poke. All 3 ultimates used by this Crows roster. Both Hachi and LeFay ults are used. Hornshard popped by the LeFay. Trying to step in for a little bit more poke. Fearless used on the X-Ball. Hachi trying to secure this tower. It does, but is it enough? Hachi ult forced. Ganesh one just a little off the mark, obviously due to the Hachi ulting away. LeFay getting aggressive on the 2v1. Double DPS, picking up 1. Sobek, big peel, plucks away from LeFay, securing, a.k.a. saving her life. Another clean wipe by the Sages. Exceptionally played. This Lefay is facilitating an incredible amount of damage, picking up or feeling aggressive enough to go for that 2v1. A Sobek Pluck, making sure she has that separation. X-Ball can't get that finishing hit, allowing the Lefay to 3 that X-Balls and live. Now getting the bird. Really well played by this team. Hachi securing 2-1, ulting away. Ganesh not able to connect that one. Just running away with it now are the Sages. It's going to be some big power spikes. Not even close to second relics yet either. Level 10s and 9s across the board. Disco went Chronos Pendant into now would be a Staff Meridian, looking for that 10% pen plus cooldown and ultimate cast. 8-minute bird is a bit rough.
How's it going, partner?
It's good, Bolden. How are you, man?
Dinner.
Would there ever be a reason to not have a recipe? No, it's free. There's literal reason to not have a recipe here. It's a free item that costs you absolutely nothing, and once you do the 2 challenges, gives you a bonus, right? So there's no reason to not have that.
Also generates you gold, too.
Yeah. That's just a mistake.
Don't the recipes, when they get fully stacked, you get like 200 gold or something like that?
For selling it?
No, you just get.
Oh,
you get
yeah,
gold
as a reward. Yeah, once you're doing challenges. Like, once you see this challenge, right? So there you go. So.
It doesn't say how much it gives you, but.
It doesn't say on here.
It does give you money, though.
As part of the challenge, gotcha. So I would like to see this Sage's roster get this Titan to at least half, but double relic on the Lefay. Instantly deleted is this X-Ball based off a Sobek Pluck. 2 for 0. A big, big flip here. Ton of damage in turn. Hachi ulting, trying to get on top of this Ganesh. Sobek Pluck a little off the mark. That should spell GG and is. Sages with a 2-0 for this set.